Yeah, friends. In the earlier classes, we have discussed what is the meaning of polity and what is the meaning of constituent assembly and what is constituent assembly, how the constituent assembly was formed, and what were the members of the constituent assembly, and who are the members of the different committees, and when the constituent drafting committee has started its work, and when the constituent assembly was met for the first time, and when it has completed, and when the constitution was framed, and when was the draft of the constitution was completed, and when we got the independence, and those details we have discussed. And I'm posing some questions over here from the topic discussed earlier. The first question is like this: how does the Constitution of India describes the India as? In the Constitution of India, that India has been described how? It is described as a union of states. What is the source for this? In the objective resolution moved by Jawaharlal Nehru on 30th December 1946, he said that India is going to be a union of states, consisting of princely states as well as provinces. And from which constitution of the world? The constitution, Indian constitution has adopted the concept of directive principles of state policy. Now hereafter we will be calling them as DPSP, friends. It is called Ireland. From which country's constitution the provision of federation was borrowed while framing the constitution of India? This is one more question. These are all the questions have been asked in the previous exams. So it is Canada, friends. And the drafting committee of the constitution is headed by who? It is by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. And which of the following feature of the both Indian Federation and American Federation? It is judicial review. We have adopted judicial review concept from Indian American Federation. And single citizenship from this is from UK, that is Britain. And the national anthem was adopted on, it is on 24th January 1950. Friends, many of the people will confuse and say that we approved the constitution has came to force from 26th January 1950, so it could be 26th January 1950. If you don't remember that, it will be very difficult. And the drafting of the constitution was completed on which date, friends? So when the constitution was adopted, we discussed in the earlier class, it was on 26th November 1949, not 26th January 1950. So be clear here. And who was the president of the Constituent Assembly, friends? Who was the president of the Constituent Assembly? He was Dr. B.R. Rajendra Prasad. Was the president. Yes, friends. So now with those basics what we have discussed, so we discussed that we said that the constitution was framed, it was adopted and enacted. So what is there in constitution? So what is the structure of the constitution? So basically Indian constitution is having 395 article. The original Indian constitution which was adopted and enacted on 26th November 1946, it had 395 articles in 22 parts, friends, and 8 schedules along with the preamble. We said that preamble was adopted and enacted soon after the constitution was adopted and enacted. So we'll discuss about the preamble in the later classes. So the constitution is having 395 articles, friends. What is the meaning of this 395 articles? There is article called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in such a way that there are 395 articles. There is an article called 395. So these are the numbers of the articles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 395. And 22 parts, there is a part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and there are 22 parts, friends. See, friends, remember this, the constitution, the numbers of the articles doesn't never change from 395. The basic structure of the constitution is 395 articles in 22 parts. This was never changed by India. This has been never changed. And still the Indian articles, like Indian constitution is having the numbers only 395 in, only 395 numbers in the number of the last article is 395. The number of the last part is 22. So this you need to remember. And schedules, of course, schedules were added. Now the schedules have changed. So we'll get into the details. So what is the basic structure of the Indian constitution? What is Indian constitution basically? So when this constitution was framed, the makers of the constitution, they with their wisdom and the foresight, they presented such a document to the nation. We call it as a living document. What is the meaning of the living document? The living document means at the time of when we adopted the constitution on 26th November 1946, it represented all the aspirations of the people. Even today, if you see the document, if you go through the constitution, it is representing all the aspirations of the needs of the Indian citizens of India. So that is how the meaning of a living document. At any particular point of time, you see that the document is representing the needs and aspirations of the people of India. When such a foresight they have, they predicted the problems going to come. They enclose the solutions for each and every problem which is going to come. That is how the meaning of the living document. Yes, friends, the constitution makers have presented as a constitution which is liberal, democratic, egalitarian, secular and federal, and open to community values, sensitive to the needs of the religious and linguistic minorities, as well as historical and disadvantaged groups. So they considered each and every section of the society, and they said that India is going to be a secular state. They said that India is going to be a federal state, and India is going to be a democratic state, and India, which is given as a liberal, we have given liberal values, and the community, we have constitution is open to the community values, and disadvantaged groups needs were addressed by the constitution, and this constitution was committed to building a common national identity. Thus the constitution makers accommodated the aspirations of the people of India for a long time to come. So it was enacted in 1946. Now it is nearly 2000. Now we are in 2015. Still we are following the same constitution. So that you can imagine how strong the constitution is. It's a unique document which in turn became, and in the contemporary period, means in the 19th century, 20th century and 21st century, in the contemporary period, Indian constitution has become an example for many of the nations. And one of the example is South Africa. It has adopted our constitution, the model of our constitution. Yes, friends, as I said that constitution is had 395 articles in 22 parts in 12 schedules. So our constitution is presented in such a way that it can be amended to represent the needs of the people. So it was amended many times, and some of the articles were added. Then the number of articles have come to 465, and the number of particles have increased to 25, and the number of schedules have increased to 12. So you may get doubt that I said that the last number of the article is 395, the last number of the last number of the part is 25. So then part is 22, but how come this 25 and 465? How these extra parts and extra articles were accommodated? That we need to know. So how these were accommodated? So before getting into this, just see the picture here, structure of constitution. So Constitution of India, it is having a first preamble and the number of parts as on date it is as of now. So the number of articles are 465, and the amendments done were 99. Total amendments were done were 99, schedules are 12, and there are 2 appendices, and fundamental rights, and this what are the articles representing? These are represent fundamental rights, directive principles and fundamental duties. These are very important as per our examination is considered. So just now we have seen that how these 465 articles were accommodated. We said that there are only 395 parts. Does it mean that article number 396, 397 and part number 23, 24 exist in the Constitution? No, they don't exist. The last article number is 395. The last part number is 22. You keep it in mind. How these are accommodated? I'll give an example. See, whenever some at point of time when Constitution was amended, like fundamental duties were added to the Constitution. So it was added in the in the Article 51. So in the Article 51, fundamental duties were added, but when the fundamental duties were added, they didn't change the number of the Article 51 to 50. They didn't give the fundamental duties an extra number as 52. What they did is they gave a number called 51A. So that is how they accommodated. They give an extra alphabet 51A, 51B, 52B in such a way that. And if you go to the Panchayat Raj system, like articles were added in such a way that 243A, 243B, etc. So if you still have doubt, just go through the constitution, structure of the constitution. We have a glance over here so that you'll understand. So these are the parts 1, 2, 3, 4, 4A, 5, 6 and the subjects covered and the articles covered. See friends, here some fundamental duties were included, and it was included as a part 4A, not as part 5. If it is included as part 5, then there will be a problem. So hence it is not included as a part 5. So if you go through the last number of the part, it is still 22. If you go through the last number of the article it is still 395. And how these were accommodated, see here, an extra thing is added as 323A, 323B and 300A in such a way that these were accommodated. Yes friends, so we got an idea that the numbers were not changed but extra were added wherever it is required with an additional alphabet. So we got an idea, right? So what are the subjects and what are the parts? The parts describes what? See friends, these are there are 22. In these 22, as per our exam, we need to remember some things. So I'll give some things. What are the some things we need to remember? The first one, that the union and its territory. That articles covered are 1 to 4. The first part says about the union and territory, and the second part gives us the details about the subjects covered, citizenship, and the articles covered are 5 to 11. These are very important. And article part 3 friends, the subjects covered are fundamental rights. These are very very important for any kind of exam in the India. So not only for our SSC CGL, for any exam this is very important. The articles covered are 12 to 35. And part 4 is nothing but directive principles of state policy. Hereafter we will call it as DPSP, and fundamental rights we call as FRs friends. So yeah, so the next one is union government. Yeah, next one is fundamental, we said the director DPSP the number were 36 to 51. And yeah, so next one is fundamental duties. Fundamental duties, it is 51A. Articles covered is 51A, only 51A. And the government, union government, it is from 50 to 151. In this union government we have 5 chapters. Chapter 1, that is executive, and chapter 2 says about the parliament, and chapter 3 says about the legislative powers of president, and chapter 4 says about the union judiciary, and chapter 5 says about the comptroller and auditor general of India. It is CAG we say. So this part 5 deals with union government, that is from 50 to 151. You can expect after the union government what is the which is going to come, that is state government. So part 6 deals with the state government. The articles covered here are 152 to 237. So friends, these are very important. The first 6 parts you need to remember. The parts you need to remember. What are the things covered you need to remember. So when we discuss the topics, you will come to know better what are the important things. Then there is a part 7 that deals with the states in part B. So this 7th article was repealed, means it was deleted from the constitution. So it means that the papers of the part 7 were not taken from this constitution, but this is not considered as of now. So that was closed. The 7th part was repealed we say. And when you come to the part 8, this is deals with union territories, and just remember that part 8 is for union territories, and just remember the articles. And part 9 deals with the panchayats, and 243, 243 till 243. Like if you see that part 9 and part 9A, part 9B, the only number is 243. Article is 243, and this was amended and it was given as 243A, B, C in such a way that till ZT. So this is very important as per panchayat is considered. Why it is important, we'll come to know that. With this addition of panchayats, with the addition of municipalities and cooperative societies, with the addition of amendments, so India has given a 3-tier government system. India has adopted a 3-tier government system in India. We'll come to know about that when we are discussing the total topic. Yeah, next part 10 deals with the scheduled and tribal areas. That article covered are 244 to 244A, and the relation between the union and the states. Those are 2 chapters in it: legislative relations and administrative relations. And finance, property, contract, suits 264 to 308. This is not a big important. And one more thing important is public service commissions, civil services commissions will come in here. That is from 315 to 323. And tribunals, and one more important thing, election, that is from 324 to 329A. And official language, just you remember what are the parts. And emergency provisions, we'll discuss this is very important. And one more important thing is part 20, that is amendment to the constitution 368. This is very very important friends. This is a unique feature of this is the one of the good feature of our constitution. So this is how we need to remember. We need to remember the parts and subjects covered and articles covered. The important is 1 to 6 are very important, and when you come to 9th is very important, and when you come 15th is very important, and when you see that 15th is for election, that is very important, and 17th official languages, 18th emergency provisions, and 20 amendment to constitution. These are very, very important. Please try to remember all these things and what are the articles covered under these parts. So with this basic structure, so just what we have seen is the basic structure, what are the parts, what are the articles covered, and how the constitution is going to be. So now you got an idea. So constitution is saying about union and its territory. Constitution is also saying about citizenship, who are the citizens of India, how the citizenship will be acquired in India, and who will be the citizen, who will be called as Indian citizen, and who will be called an NRI, who will be called an NRO. Everything will be given here, and we'll be discussing them. And what are the fundamental rights? What are the basic rights given to the people? What are the directive principles of state policy? The fundamental duties. So we come to know that by looking at this glance, this table, that these all were enshrined in the constitution, so that these all were given to us by the constitution makers. So this is a very lengthiest constitution. We can clearly see this 22 parts and 395 articles. This is very biggest constitution. So this is what we can have some idea by looking at this picture. Yeah, with this idea we'll discuss what are the unique features of special features of the Indian Constitution. The special features of the Indian Constitution, friends, the Indian Constitution is the lengthiest written constitution in the world. This is the lengthiest written constitution in the world. And how this is having 395 articles in 22 parts. Earlier it had 395 articles in 22 parts and 8 schedules along with preamble at that time, and now also it is the lengthiest written constitution in the world. And in the exam they may not ask us which is the lengthiest written constitution in the world. They may ask us what are the factors contributed to the size, what are the factors contributed for the constitution to become its lengthiest. One thing is geographical factors, such as vastness of the country. Like the country is very big. You can imagine like from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and east to west. This is very big country, and it's very diverse country. Like there are many languages, there are many people are living in the country. All the peoples, all the aspirations of the people, everything is to be enshrined in the constitution. So it has took time, and the number of pages, number of parts, number of articles in the constitution have increased. That is one of the factor. And second one is historical factors. What is the historical factor? As we discussed, that the basis for the Indian Constitution is the Government of India Act 1935. So that was a skeleton for Indian Constitution. So the Act itself, the Government of India Act itself, is very lengthy. So that is one. That could be one of the reasons that why this Constitution is become very lengthy. And what we had is we had single constitution with both the center and both center, state, and as well as the center. Yeah, for center and as well as state, we had only one constitution. We don't have a separate constitution for Maharashtra. We don't have a separate constitution for Uttar Pradesh. We don't have a separate constitution for some other state, Rajasthan. So we have only one constitution, that is for entire India. Whereas in USA, if you see that every state is having their own constitution. So that is one of the reasons that every state, every needs of the people were included in one constitution, so it has become lengthy. So that is one of the reasons. So there are three reasons: geographical factors, the historical factors, as well as the factors of this one constitution. And the second feature of this special feature of Indian Constitution is it was drawn from many sources. We have discussed that it was drawn almost constitutions of nearly 60 countries were referred before framing this constitution. And what is the third feature? Indian Constitution, under this constitution, this is very important. Under the constitution, the people of India are the ultimate sovereign. Like the people, when you see the constitution, when you read the constitution, this we the people, the preamble of the constitution start, we the people of India, we the people of India, we the people, we ourselves are going to adopt this constitution. It is ours and it is ours, so we are the supreme. That clearly says, the constitution says the people are the ultimate sovereign. And it adopted the British parliamentary form of the government rather than American presidential system of the government. Our system is parliamentary system. What is the meaning of parliamentary system? Parliamentary system means it will be having a nominal and real executive. In India, we have a nominal executive and real executive. Nominal executive is the president and real executive is the prime minister. And there will be one more provision that majority party will rule. Like in the elections, whoever gets majority, then they will form the government and they will rule. And under the leadership of the Prime Minister. This is one of the factor. And the membership of the ministers in the legislature. In the legislature, there will be the ministers. And collective responsibility of the executive to the legislature. So executive, whatever the executive is there, it will have a collective responsibility. It doesn't mean it means that if Prime Minister had done some mistake, that it is bound to all entire executive. So that is how it means like. And one more feature, special feature is the Indian Constitution is neither rigid nor flexible. So friends, these are some of the features. Some of the other features also there. We'll discuss those some of the other features in the next class. So yeah, stay tuned to VFocus, and thank you very much.